Greetings and welcome once again to another edition of Practical Assertion. This past Monday, July 4th, we celebrated a national holiday, the 4th of July, or Independence Day. 240 years ago, we decided that we'd had enough of being ruled by the royals. It took real guts and fortitude to make the decision to declare our independence. This decision was not arrived upon quickly or easily. This move, in fact, was conceived after years of oppression and ill treatment. The patriots were undoubtedly driven to revolt. Knowing people and their nature, it would not surprise me to know that there were those who concluded that they did not want to fight for freedom. Those who had grown so comfortable in their state, those who perhaps were more controlled by fear, or who by their very nature are passive, were undoubtedly in this group. Now, I don't intend for this to be a history lesson about our nation's beginning. Rather, I'd like to take this time in an attempt to inspire anyone out there in practical assertion land to evaluate your current situation to see if you need to declare your independence. So, you say to yourself, we're already free. That's what we just celebrated, right? Well, truth be told, there are countless individuals who are enslaved and need to be set free. It was reported that Harriet Tubman once said, "I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves." While there is no record of this in manuscripts, it really does help to drive home the point that there are those who don't know that they are slaves. Here is my premise. If you're in a bad relationship, physically abusive, verbally abusive, mentally abusive, or sexually abusive, you are a slave. If you're on a job suffering from ill treatment, not at your own doing, you are a slave. If you're in a family situation and you're enduring the pains of abuse of any sort, you are bound. If you are shackled with credit card debt out of the wazoo, whatever the heck a wazoo is, you are enthralled. For those of you who are controlled by some master and forced into unhealthy behaviors, you too are subjugated, that is, brought under the control or governance as a subject. Whether drug and or alcohol abuse, gambling, sex, prostitution, crime, smoking, or the like, you are a slave. You have been subdued, you have been overpowered, and are now dominated. You see, the thought from the mistaken Harriet Tubman quote is that there are individuals who are slaves and don't even realize it. For these individuals, they will never be free until they are made to recognize their horrendous condition. That is my goal with this practical assertion, to enlighten those who are in the deep, dark dungeon of domination. As you listened or read the conditions, did you see yourself described? Are you one of the hopeless ones that are enchained and in need of independence? There are individuals who realize that they are caged and who truly want their independence but don't know how to achieve it. I'm reminded of a book by Maya Angelou entitled, "I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings." I know that there are those imprisoned who long to be free. I was blessed to be able to travel to Ghana, Africa several years ago. On the shores of Accra, there is what is called the Cape Coast Castle, where captives, not slaves, were held before being loaded into ships bound for lands unknown to them. I use the term captives because our guide for the tour of the castle made sure that we understood that they were not slaves until they reached ports unknown. We were led down a passage where we walked into a dark, musty room called the dungeon, which, by the way, was just beneath the chapel within the castle. How ironic that individuals, notice that I did not call them people, could even fix their lips to offer worship and praise to God while subjecting other human beings to deplorable conditions. But I digress. I don't apologize, however, because thoughts of anyone being captured, sold, shackled, and enslaved conjures up that stench that still exists in that horrible dungeon. As I close, I hope that I have challenged anyone who is enslaved by whatever force, whatever master, whatever demon to imagine yourself free from the bars of that cage. Keep singing, because just as our forefathers and foremothers realized, there is always hope. So whether an abusive relationship, horrible conditions on the job, family issues, debt, or controlled by some behavioral baron, it's time that you declared your independence. As mentioned earlier, however, until you realize that you are enslaved, you will forever be. Jesus said in John 8:32, "And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." Freedom starts with truth. En Vogue had a song out in September 1992 entitled "Free Your Mind." And while the focus of the song was anti-prejudice, the message applies to our topic because they assert that when you free your mind, the rest will follow. Try it as you begin to declare your independence. If you need help, leave your contact information on our website, leave your comments on our blog page, comment on Facebook, Twitter, or email me directly at james.bradley@assert-usa.com. And we'll see you next week for another edition of Practical Assertion. Take care. And by the way, here is the address to where you can see En Vogue's video. Talk to you soon. Goodbye.